Sasa na kupeleka moja kwa moja tufuatilie mjadala wa ripoti ya kamati ya uteuzi.
Would even send in questions by SMS and WhatsApp, and some, Honorable Speaker, by even making calls over lunchtime, putting specific questions to nominees, and I'm sure many of the committee members were able to represent their people by asking some of the questions that members of the public wanted to be put to these nominees, Honorable Speaker. And it's in great appreciation that our country has come of age, that Kenyans now are very conscious of what is going on in their country. And I'm sure, Honorable Speaker, last week, from 8 in the morning to 8 p.m. in the evening, Honorable Speaker, many Kenyans were glued to their TVs, watching and participating in the vetting exercise. And I'm sure even as we seek to approve these nominees, Honorable Speaker, they will agree with many of us and many Kenyans that indeed these are nominees who have passed the test of time, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, without delving onto the issue that have been raised in the minority report, Honorable Speaker, the area where we could not agree between us and those who are in the minority, Honorable Speaker, was more ideological than anything else, Honorable Speaker. Because there are those of us who believe that in line with our constitution, Honorable Speaker, every Kenyan has the right to assume, or rather to carry the presumption of innocence until you are proven guilty by a competent court of law. And it is indeed true, Honorable Speaker, that the Honorable Aisha Jumwa has been charged in court, but there is no court in the Republic of Kenya that has passed any judgment on the Honorable Aisha Jumwa, on the Honorable Mithika Linturi, and indeed, Honorable Speaker, it is worth noting that the criminal case that had been leveled against Honorable Mithika Linturi, or Senator Linturi, was actually withdrawn by the office of the DPP, Honorable Speaker. I know those in the minority, Honorable Speaker, did observe that the Honorable Linturi, without prompting from anyone, volunteered information to the committee that he had another close to 35 cases in court. But he was emphatic that none of those cases that he's prosecuting in court, or the cases that he has in court, are criminal in nature. They are all civil cases. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, it was with that in mind that we thought, those of us in the majority, and I want to beg with this House to agree with the majority, that these two nominees are presumed innocent until they are proved guilty in a competent court. And since that has not happened, Honorable Speaker, it is only right that we give them the benefit of doubt. And in line with our statutes, Honorable Speaker, and our Constitution, should any of them, even those who have no cases in court, Honorable Speaker, should any of these nominees ever be found guilty of any criminal offense, Honorable Speaker, it is within the powers of this House to impeach and recall that cabinet secretary. And indeed, we did put that question to one of the nominees, whether if they were to be found guilty, they would be willing to take responsibility. And I believe many of them, or rather most of them, those who had cases, were emphatic that should they be found guilty, they would be willing to take responsibility like others before them, Honorable Speaker. But it's only fair, Honorable Speaker, that we ensure, Honorable Speaker, that we do not become the judiciary. We allow the judiciary to do their work. We allow the office of the DPP to do its work without interfering with their work. And even these nominees are not in any way interfering with the cases that had been filed against them. Even the one whose case was withdrawn was on the DPP's own volition, upon the complainant voluntarily withdrawing the case that had been filed against the Honorable Mithika Linturi. Honorable Speaker, the other issue that had been raised, Honorable Speaker, is on the nomination of the Honorable Wycliffe Musalia Mudavadi as the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, you will remember, Honorable Speaker, when this issue was raised before the committee, in our first meeting, you did address it, Honorable Speaker, and appreciating, Honorable Speaker, that it is within the powers of the President and Article 132 and Article 152, Sub-Article 2, as read together with Section 10, Subsection 1 of the National Government and Coordination Act number 1 of 2013, it is within the powers of the President to appoint, to designate the title and assign functions to a Cabinet Secretary, provided that the total number of Cabinet Secretaries being nominated by the President do not exceed 22. It is important, Honorable Speaker, for members and the nation to note that the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, in line, Honorable Speaker, with your ruling as our chair, that the Honorable Musalia Mudavadi was nominated by His Excellency the President to serve in the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary as one of the 22 Cabinet Secretaries, Honorable Speaker. And the other additional nominees to make the list that we have just read of 24 is the Attorney General and the Honorable Ms. Mercy Kiruwanjao, who serves as Secretary to the Cabinet, and is therefore not a member per se of the Cabinet, is an ex-official member of the Cabinet together with the Attorney General. Honorable Speaker, on the nominee by the name, Honorable Speaker, the nominee who, Honorable Malonza, Penina Malonza, OGW, who was nominated as a Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage. Honorable Speaker, again, it is important to state that this was a decision by the committee. But at the end of the day, Honorable Speaker, again, the committee works on behalf of the plenary and on behalf of this House, and it is up to the House to make a decision on all these nominees and decide whether to approve or disapprove them, Honorable Speaker. And it's important, Honorable Speaker, to note that, Honorable Speaker, this particular nominee and the decision of the committee, Honorable Speaker, to reject her nomination is not a vindication, Honorable Speaker, on her suitability per se to hold public office. We did consider and look at her academic credentials, Honorable Speaker, and the nominee is very well qualified in terms of her academic credentials. She is a holder of a master's degree in project planning and management, which she got in 2008. She has a higher diploma in psychology counseling management and a Bachelor of Arts in anthropology, all from the University of Nairobi. The anthropology degree she graduated in 1998, and with a master's in project planning and management that she graduated in 2008. 1998 for undergraduate and 2008 for her master's degree. And she has also undertaken several short courses, Honorable Speaker. It's also important, Honorable Speaker, to state that the nominee did meet all the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, having obtained her clearance certificate, just like all the other nominees, including the Attorney General and the Secretary of the Cabinet did obtain their clearance certificates from EACC, KRA from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties to state whether they are active members or officials of political parties, and the Higher Education Loans Board. Honorable Speaker, it is also on record that this particular nominee, Ms. Penina Malonza, has not been charged in any court of law in the past 3 years. And Honorable Speaker, in terms of her political party affiliation, as much as it was noted she was a member of UDA, having ran as a women rep in her home county, Honorable Speaker, she does not hold office in any political party. Honorable Speaker, we also noted that the nominee has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for contravention of the provisions of Article 75, Sub-Article 1 on conflict of interest, or on Article 76 on financial probity, or Article 77 on restriction of activities, on activities of state officers, and Article 78(2) on dual citizenship, as she's only a Kenyan citizen in line with our Constitution, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the committee, in considering this particular nominee, if you read on page 109, we do state that the nominee did not demonstrate knowledge of topical, administrative, and technical issues touching on the Ministry of Tourism and Heritage. Consequently, the nominee lacks requisite abilities and experience to serve as a Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife, and Heritage. And Honorable Speaker, that's why I'm stating this recommendation by the committee, Honorable Speaker, is not in any way an indictment on Ms. Penina Malonza. We have not indicted her on her credibility in terms of her integrity in line with our constitution, not on her credibility in terms of her academic qualifications, or indeed even her work experience. She has a very rich history, having worked as a deputy governor under Governor Malombe in Kitui County. She was the deputy governor between 2013 and 2017. She was a director and training partner and support director for Compassion International, the Kenya office, between the year 2012 and 2013. And she also served as the program supervisor of Compassion International during the period 2010 to 2012, and a senior program facilitator from 2009 to 2010, program facilitator during the year 2006 to 2009 for Compassion International. The nominee also served as the project director for Changamwe Baptist Church between 2002 and 2006. And she has also served as a project coordinator for AMREF Kenya at Kibera-based health community care program in 1999. Honorable Speaker, I'm only enumerating this because it may misconstrued, Honorable Speaker, that having looked at her qualifications, having looked at her integrity, the committee did not find anything that would make her not pass or suitable as a cabinet nominee for tourism. It is only out of the one-on-one interview. And Honorable Speaker, is good to mention, Honorable Speaker, and many of us in this house may take it for granted, that when you walk into an interview room where you find members of parliament that probably who you only see on TV, Honorable Speaker, staring at you with close to 30 or 40 cameras also focusing on you, it is probable, Honorable Speaker, that a nominee, and indeed I saw this happen, not just to this particular nominee, to at least a minimum of 4 nominees who panicked, became anxious, and could at times lose their line of thinking and forget very simple basic things, Honorable Speaker. And at times it took members to crack a joke or two to allow them to relax. And Honorable Speaker, we must appreciate that this lady also, besides having been deputy governor, she lost as deputy governor in 2017 when Governor Malombe lost elections in 2017. But she recollected herself and ran for women rep under a UDA ticket in her home county. And you know Kitui County was not a UDA or a Kenya Kwanza stronghold. But she did extremely well. And Honorable Speaker, having come from an election that she had lost, Honorable Speaker, and she is now subjected to a grueling, almost close to 2 hours, with cameras, Honorable Speaker, focusing on her. And Honorable Speaker, I must declare that I did meet the nominee the following day, I think a day or two, at the Mashujaa Day celebrations at Uhuru Gardens. And she was indeed remorseful that she was a bit shaken when she appeared for the interview. And I understood her, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I only speak about her, Honorable Speaker, because I want to state it to the country and honorable members in this House that in consideration of everything that was tabled before the committee, there was absolutely nothing adverse against Penina Malonza. And her case now rests in the hands of the honorable members of this august House for you to decide what you want to do with her, as the fate of the other 23 nominees rests.
Order, honorable members. Order. Order, honorable members. We shall listen to the majority leader in silence.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for protecting me. But I know these honorable members know what I'm speaking about, because many other Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, attend job interviews and perform in different ways, and we all react in different ways to shock. We react in different ways to being in situations and environments that you are not used to, Honorable Speaker. And without seeming to be speaking for anybody, Honorable Speaker, I was saying that the fate of all these 24 nominees submitted to us by His Excellency the President now rests in your hands, honorable members. But it's also worth noting, Honorable Speaker, that we are nominating or we are considering for approval Cabinet Secretary nominees who, if approved by this House, Honorable Speaker, and upon being sworn in, will now assume the offices of Cabinet Secretaries, Honorable Speaker. His Excellency the President has indicated when he addressed this House, Honorable Speaker, that he intends to ask the House, and he did request the House, to consider amending our standing orders, Honorable Speaker, to allow these Cabinet Secretaries to appear in this House, Honorable Speaker, right where you are, Honorable Speaker, next to you, in the Civil Servants Bench, Honorable Speaker, to be able to answer questions and statements from members of Parliament and from Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, so that as the people's representatives, you are able to hold all these Cabinet Secretaries to account, to ensure that they are serving the interests of the people we represent in the offices that they hold, Honorable Speaker. Let me just take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, even as I beg honorable members to approve these names, Honorable Speaker, to just state it to the Cabinet Secretary nominees. God willing, if you are approved, let us not witness the hubris, the arrogance that we witnessed under the Cabinet Secretaries that served in the previous regime. They must appreciate that they have been bestowed the honor to serve in high office, to serve the people of Kenya. And as they come to this House, they must appreciate they are coming to appear before the people's representatives. When a Cabinet Secretary is called to come and answer a question in this House, he is not coming to answer to the Honorable Junet Mohammed or the Honorable Roko, member for Mbere North. You are answering a question to the people of either Suna East or the people of Mbere North, not the honorable members. And therefore, we do expect, Honorable Speaker, that we shall treat them with the decorum and respect that they deserve. But they must treat the people of Kenya with higher respect and answer to questions and statements that are of concern to the people of Kenya without the arrogance we saw in the last regime. We must take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, and I must tell them from this floor, Honorable Speaker, the reason the President has implored on this House to amend our standing orders to allow Cabinet Secretaries to appear in this House to answer to questions and statements, Honorable Speaker, and also to articulate government policy, Honorable Speaker, is to enhance accountability in government. President William Ruto, as I said the other day, Honorable Speaker, does not need to speak about corruption. He will act on corruption. Any Cabinet Secretary who exercises his authority in a way that will benefit himself individually will only have himself to blame. President William Ruto will not be there to protect any of these Cabinet Secretaries. Should you dip your hands in the cookie jar that belongs to Kenyans? Honorable Speaker, I just wish, Honorable Speaker, to beg the members who are shouting. I know you just came from some market somewhere, but you are now in the National Assembly. Drop the market manners from the market you came from and allow us to debate what we are debating, Honorable Speaker. And I had stated you will have your say and you will say it, Honorable Speaker. And I was saying accountability will be key under the administration of William Ruto. And I want to challenge all of us in this House, Honorable Speaker. Let us play our oversight role. Honorable Speaker, Kenyans will bear as witness, Honorable Speaker, that as we vetted, Honorable Speaker, the Speaker as a chair moderated without regard to political affiliation. Ourselves, we vetted these Cabinet Secretaries without regard to our political affiliations, and we put questions to them to be able to ascertain their suitability, Honorable Speaker, and that is how we found all of them suitable, Honorable Speaker, to be able to serve in public office, with the exception of what I have stated, Honorable Speaker, and what I have said is now in the hands of all of us here. Honorable Speaker, with those very many remarks, I want to beg to move this motion, Honorable Speaker, and I want to request the Deputy Leader of Majority, the Honorable Owen Bayer, to second the motion, as I thank Honorable Speaker, all the members of the committee, and indeed all the members of the House, and as I beg that we do consider and approve these nominees. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Owen Bayer.
All right, yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's an honor to second this motion on the appointment of the Cabinet